You're watching RealAgriculture.com's coverage of the 2014 Farm Progress Show in Regina, Saskatchewan. Shaun Haney here with RealAgriculture.com, and right now we're joined by Garth Massie from Morris Industries. Welcome to the Garth.
Hi, Shaun.
Garth, we're at the Farm Progress Show in Regina. We're trying to stay dry. Underneath the tent here, let's talk about opener wear. Had a really good question from one of our viewers asking to do a feature on is there ways I should know when I should change my opener? There's a bit of a fear of changing too late versus maybe changing too early. Let's go through the process.
Well, I think in the past there were some fears and certain opener designs. You would start to lose your seed placement and your fertilizer seed separation. It's a little bit different situation with these particular openers, Shaun, because we don't seem to lose our seed placement as these openers wear. So for us, it's a matter of just making sure that you wear out the steel. So there's always going to be carbide on all the cutting surfaces. So on this leading shank, there's carbide. There's carbide here as well. So what a person watches out for, and what causes these openers to wear out, Shaun, is that the steel behind the carbide starts to wash away. And you know, we've made some attempts to try and slow that down. This is a bead of hard surfacing here, and there's a bead of hard surfacing around here as well. Because in the early years, before the hard surfacing, we found that this back edge of the shovel would start to wear, and then it would start to wear on your cast piece. So this hard surfacing has been very effective for us on the shovel part here. So probably one of your higher wear areas, Shaun, is right behind this leading shank here. So I think maybe one of the problems with growers is that they get a little bit too worried. You can have a significant amount of steel wash away behind this and still have a decent amount of strength to hold it. So then it becomes a matter of just watching what level of steel is there to support the carbide behind is one thing. And then I guess the other thing, as this carbide starts to get really thin, as soon as your carbide is wore out, then of course you're finished and you've got to replace that, because you really find out what wear happens and the good things that carbide do for you, Shaun.
So if you don't change soon enough, seed placement has to be the thing that is basically you're giving up, right? Or is there other issues?
Well, on these, you would have to, before your seed placement, because the seed comes out this port here, and your fertilizer comes here. So basically this cuts a nice smooth shelf for your seed bed, and as long as this is more or less intact, you're really not going to lose your seed placement. And there's carbide surface that protects this wear tail on the back. Your fertilizer actually comes down the back here, Shaun, and this piece doesn't seem to be quite resilient to wear, because it's just moving loose soil out of the way. So you're really not losing just the design of this style of opener. You're not losing seed placement or fertilizer seed separation that much as they wear. So it's a matter of just keeping an eye on the amount of steel wear behind the carbides, and that'll probably guide you as far as when you need to replace them.
The disadvantage of changing too early is pretty obvious, right?
Cost.
It's cost.
Yes. You know, the cost of these are, you know, they're expensive, you know, and it doesn't matter the manufacturer of opener, they're all expensive. Most of the money is actually tied up in the carbide tablets. That's where the dominant cost is on these things. And of course, it's there for a reason, because the carbide gives you that wear life. If it was just shank grade steel, you'd be shocked at how quick it would wear through.
Now, is it best to make the change an all or none scenario, where you go, look at shank by shank, or is it once I'm changing the whole all the shanks?
Well, you know, typically on a machine, your high wear points are behind your tractor wheel tracks, and so I would change it. Like if you got some that have got very good life, there's no sense in changing those, I think. And you're definitely always going to have some higher wear regions on your machine, and I would focus on those first, for sure.
Yeah, we had a little bit of debate earlier here in the tent before we set up. Do the majority of growers, do more growers change too early or change too late? What do you think about that?
I think there's probably more growers are being on the cautious side and they might be changing prematurely is kind of what I'm seeing out there. And some of that is when it's go time in the spring, farmers want to be able to get through the whole season and not have to change as well. So there's some of those considerations that come into it as well, Shaun.
And one of the questions is maybe not as obvious as it seems. How many acres should I get out of my open?
And that is the most difficult question, I think, in the machinery business. It's very specific to the soils in your farm and maybe to an extent seeding speed, seeding depth. Even moisture levels of the soil from one year to the next can impact where. So it's an extremely difficult one, and unfortunately the farmers themselves are probably the best judge. They know their farms better than we do.